Alright, welcome back. This is Act 5. Act 5 will probably split into two separate parts because it is quite lengthy. We'll kind of see how long it takes us to get through, but it's a rather lengthy section of the game, so this particular part may be broken down into two separate videos. When we last left off, we finished the Sea of Nightmares. We went to Mirth, and we left Mirth and went south to the southern sort of continent. So here we are in the jungle path we're going to pick up, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the Shimmering Shard off of Valir now, and sort of get her re-equipped back up to snuff. So we'll take that off, we'll throw the power belt back on her. We can put the power belt on Zale if you want. I mentioned this in the last video. If you were using it already on Zale, you feel free to continue. I like to keep the power belt on Sarai for the time being, particularly for the next fight. It's very easy for Zale to die in this next fight without the green leaf on, so I like to keep the green leaf here for him, particularly just to try to deal with the V attack and the double strikes from 1 and 3. But other than that, you don't need to worry about anything else. Arcane Amulet can remain on Garl for now. That will eventually be swapped onto the appropriate character a little bit while later on. Not really important at the moment. So you begin by coming up here on the side and just hug the wall to avoid the scorpion. And hang a left and jump in immediately. Here you can give yourself a little bit of a boost by doing a grapple V. You need to jump off the side and immediately jump onto the bridge. You don't need to wait for it. Now there is kind of one encounter up here if you take the normal route, but if you jump into the water and then climb up the edges and just kind of hug along the sides, you'll skip the encounter that's in that little area. So we jump into the water again, we're going to climb up. And you're going to use your grapple V when you are close enough to be able to get to the wall. And continue to proceed north. Now up here you can kind of skip some of these platforms by using your grapple V again to kind of shortcut around. And we're going to head right into the 1 and 3 fight. These guys are really dangerous. Just be really careful here. Be conscious of your HP for everybody. Be conscious of who's in the party at any given point, and don't be afraid to utilize Garl as a tank, because that's what he's there for. Sunball and Solstice Strike are going to be kind of your best friends here for doing a lot of damage, and you're going to want to do it all on one. One will pick 2 characters at random and do a double strike on it. It does a lot of damage. You really need to be a gamer here and get these blocks. They're really dangerous. Try to get those blocks if at all possible. So something else to notice here about 3, he's casting right now. When he's casting, you can't do normal attacks on him. You would have to do a skill of some sort, or else he will block your attack. So we generally ignore 3 altogether and just let him do his attacks. I suppose if he had something that you would be able to break with your skills, perhaps try to go ahead and do it, because V attack is quite dangerous. But we generally will just ignore him for the most part, and if we see a V attack coming, we will just swap our rounded characters in such a way that hopefully everybody survives. I'm kind of worried about Zale in this case, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to safety and heal Valir. And again, you're just trying to do as much damage on one as possible, while staying alive. If you want to dodge, we didn't talk about when V-attack happened, but V-attack is always going to attack these two characters, right? So take your character with the lowest HP, if possible, and throw them in the center so that they avoid V-attack entirely. Other than that, there is, again, like no sort of perfect script for this fight. It's just a matter of being able to adapt with what you're given and trying to survive for as long as possible. Once you get one down, 3 will fall in one attack afterwards. So again, characters who you know are going to have the highest likelihood of surviving. Probably could have and should have healed Valir there with Nourish. But we'll hope for good RNG here. It's kind of a bummer. Would have boosted this if I was smart. But we'll go ahead and finish here. As I said, 3 will go down in one attack once 1 is down. So as long as you can focus on getting 1 down, you're good to go. Really just more about, again, knowing what they can do and how you can best handle it. The Lake of Silence. We're going to swim up here and ring this bell to kind of get things going, and you can skip the scene once that's begun. Then you're going to come up here and do another scene skip for the seashell. We're going to move up and to the left into Sacred Grove. There's going to be one fight here that we need to worry about. And so we're going to take a heal right here. We're still extremely weak from the fight with 1 and 3. You're going to want to hookshot the one on the left. Just the one you're going to be focusing on in this battle. You're going to start with the Crescent Arc on him. And then you're going to swap in Sarai and do a boosted phase shiv. And you want to time this. Provided you had the combo points, go ahead and do a Solstice Strike on this guy, finish him off. Jump in the water, go behind this waterfall to pick up some daggers for Sarai. These are going to be the coral daggers. And then you climb up here and kind of watch out for those turtles. You can kind of sneak around the corner. Just kind of pay attention where they are, and if they're right there when you happen to be climbing, just give them a moment. You're going to jump in the water and grab your last rainbow conch right here. We should now have 11, and if you were quick enough, you shouldn't have to wait there. You should just be able to climb and continue right along. We were a little slow, so we had to just wait. Place the seashell and then immediately jump into the water and use this whirlpool here to sort of bring you back to the entrance to the area and exit. Now, you have a choice here. You can take the campfire and heal up if you want to be prepared for the shrimp fight that's coming up in front of Antsudlo. So there'll be a skip coming up that is really kind of touch and go, and it doesn't seem very consistent in any sort of way. So you may want to take a rest here just to heal yourself healed up in order to be able to handle that fight as quickly as possible if it were to happen. But if you're feeling risky and you're on kind of like PB pace, you want to keep that up, just skip your heal and just move right on through because you know you're going to crush door skip. Back at the lake here, we're going to hop into this whirlpool, and it's going to take us to Docarri Village. So we get to claim in on our rainbow conches now by coming up and talking to this little guy right here. Hold your text speed up buttons, get past this, and then talk to him again. So this should give us the cornucopia. This gives us the party max HP plus 20 for everyone. So I kind of mentioned way back in video 1, this is effectively 2.5 HP level ups for the entire party. And this is kind of why we focus on getting this in the first place. In the shop, you're going to go ahead and sell. We no longer need the Shimmering Shard, so you can get rid of that. Sell up all your old armor that you don't need anymore, your weapons that you don't need anymore. And sell up your Hearty Stews if you don't feel like you want them. I personally don't hold on to them. I don't have much of a use for just the HP only healing items, so I normally go up and just sell those. And with that, you're going to buy the staff, you're going to buy the sword, because these are both attack boosts. You already have the daggers that you found in Sacred Grove, and you're not concerned about the armor. So that's everything there. Feel free to buy as many bouillabaisse as you feel you need for safety. I typically won't go any more than 2 or 3, because I just don't find I use them anymore. But as you're learning the run, you may want a few of these kind of in the early game to handle any sort of unnecessary situations that you inevitably will end up putting yourself into. They're also just great for sort of dealing with the encounter skips that you may fail here in Antsudlo. But if you have a good run and you get all of the encounter skips, of course you're not going to need the bouillabaisse to, top yourself up in any sort of way. So we're going to pick up this thing up here, up north. We're going to come back down and put it on this little platform and just kind of keep moving our way through. Here you can kind of hug along the left as you make your way up and just like feel out the pathing that's going on with those enemies. And when we get up here, you're going to want to hug the left-hand wall and kind of stay as close to it as possible. You don't want to trigger the guy standing on the left there. Come over and ring the bell and pick up this key that's over here. So we're going to set up here for door skip. And the way this kind of works is, if you've ever played Pokemon, it's kind of very similar to that. So this guy, when he stops following us and loses, when we lose aggro on him, he's going to spin around a little bit and look in some different directions, and we're going to hope it's good the first time. If it isn't good the first time, there's a backup you can do where you kind of lure him closer to the portal that's off to the southeast, so that you can try to set up for a second time, essentially. Just luring him as close to the portal as possible so that when you come back through the portal, you just kind of blow right past him. But we'll see how this goes. You kind of get 2 chances at this, and sometimes you just end up getting the fight, and there's really nothing you can do about it. It kind of feels like it's one of these inconsistent encounter skips because you're going based off of which direction he's going to end up facing. So I'm going to head directly right until the dirt that's kind of coming down that path from the doorway turns back into sand, and then I'm immediately going to like head north and then head right when he starts to see me. And I'm going to try to place the key in the pad sort of relatively as soon as possible. So we watch his direction turn, and this is really bad. So he decided to face southeast. And in this case, when we put the key in the platform, he's just going to see us and he's going to start to chase us again. So in this case, I would try to set up for a second attempt near the portal. And in this one, you're going to try to just lure him to the portal as closely as possible and try to have him sit at like the north end if you can. He's still a little far away, but he's facing backwards. There's a possibility that we might be able to sneak by him, but because he's not close enough to the portal, there's a more likely possibility that we'll just end up triggering the encounter when we come back through. So you can try to go in as south as possible, but he's not close enough to the portal. We weren't able to just blow past him. Really good locks though, and because we took the heal in Sacred Grove, we're able to deal with these locks really quickly, which is nice. They're weak against poison, so utilize Sarai's magic if you're able to. And just try to get out of there as quickly as possible. So this is why you would take the safety heal in Sacred Grove when you're done, is if you feel like you want to be able to handle this fight relatively quickly and deal with those locks as much as possible, then you would take the heal there. If you're on a hot run and you're feeling good and you think you're going to get this door skip, that's when you would kind of skip that heal. But general sum up, you're going to want to run up to this point, begin to head north, and then pull him over. And again, he's going to like look in different directions. Sometimes he may end up looking like kind of up towards this direction, right? And so you can kind of just come back and walk right around him and go in. It's really just a matter of what the RNG gives you and what direction he ends up facing. And again, I tried to set up for the second attempt where you would want to lure him into about this point right here. Like you'd want to get him as close to this portal as possible so that when you blow back through, you kind of just go right past him and he may start to chase you, but you can just safely make your way up and through. Just remember that this guy is still here and that he can still kind of have some peripheral vision, right? So you do kind of want to keep it tight as you're coming up and through. So that's a failed door skip, and that's not a big deal. Again, that's kind of like goal skip. Don't beat yourself up if that happens, because it really does feel like kind of inconsistent and just depends on the directional RNG that he ends up facing. So we'll top up here for the sake of this video. Normally you'd just be able to blow right through and not take this campfire. But welcome to Antsudlo. We're going to start by going to the right door. Now, I personally have never been like 100% consistent with this place. So for me, this is like you come here and it's like you have a 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3 sort of grading that you're giving yourself here. Did you get door skip? Did you get this skip? And did you get the crab skip? For this one, what I'll normally do is I'll normally lure both of them over to the left-hand side and sort of drag them down along the wall. And then when I come back up around the right-hand side, I'll use my grappler to get myself to the ladder. So when he starts to go up, grab their attentions and pull them both down. And then use that grappler to pull yourself once you have a fair amount of distance between you and him. And then on this side's going to be a little more involved. You're just going to start by doing the puzzle normally but quickly. Jump down, hit the switch. And use your grappler to get over here. And place your orb back in and start swimming back to the entrance. There's different degrees of difficulty that you can implement to yourself for this. You can get very risky or you can be safe. So I'll show the safe strat, in which you kind of just wait for him to pass by before you come down and hit the switch. If you wanted to avoid all sort of waiting, then you're going to be doing the risky variant of this, where you're just kind of running through, you'd air puff him south and then just move on through. But now you want to line up and push him to the left. Push him to the left. Ooh. Missed it. So you would push him to the left and just kind of move right on through. Again, Antsudlo has never been my greatest of places, so some days are better than others. We'll see if we can get a couple of videos in here. If you get this fight, it's not a big deal. It's just you really want to avoid this guy getting any sort of locks off so that he doesn't call a buddy in. And don't be afraid to utilize combo points and MP. You're really not going to be needing it anywhere else after this, and you're going to be getting a full heal once you end the area anyways. So you're going to remember Sarai has the vulnerability on this guy, so try to utilize that as much as possible. And again, if you get encounters in Antsudlo, like, don't beat yourself up about it. Like, these are some of the tougher encounter skips up to this point in the game. So these ones take a little bit more practice, 100%. If you were to have gotten the push and you snuck past him and climbed up, you would just grab the orb, and when you jump back down, you don't have to air puff anybody. You can still sneak past him, just kind of like wait for your opportunity for the shrimp guy to be like looking the other way before you go. So in this room, you're just hitting a bunch of different valves to bring these sort of like walkways out to the center and charge things up. So you have the first two that are here. You're going to jump back in and go to the entrance. There's a ladder over here that you can kind of climb back up on. And we can gain access to that chest now. That's going to be a new piece of armor for Sarai called the Thalassic Cloak. I'm very bad for not equipping this one, so... just don't be me. Go ahead and equip that. It's a very sizable boost. And then we got our last valve right here. For these three devices here, you're going to want to hit them in an order of 2, 1, 2. So 2, 1, 2. And obviously there's different ways you can do this. You can kind of hop around from 1 to 3 to 2 to 3 to, you know, and bounce things evenly. Or you can just do them one at a time as such. There's kind of like a little bit of a waiting period when you go to do these. So feel free to experiment. When you see the ground kind of change and that hard line occur, you can use your grappler at that point to sort of hookshot over to these. So when you see this change to this, essentially. And in here, you're going to jump in the water and hit this platform. And you may have to do this room a couple of times before you really start to get the feel for it. But just pushing yourself along this platform as quickly as possible, knowing sort of how far each push pushes you, and just getting used to that is a little bit of a challenge, but after a few times you get very comfortable with it. See, like, I'm very caught on the side there. It's... once you hit that switch, you're going to come over and kind of push yourself up into this platform so you can climb it. And then you may want to jump off the side here just to avoid jumping on that platform and then having to jump off of it afterwards. You can grapple with the wall here, get yourself out. And now we're on the top floor. We have one, room, one puzzle left to do. So, coming to an end on Antsudlo. In here, immediately grapple to the ladder to save yourself a couple seconds. And then go through this. We're going to head to the main puzzle room of this section. And so there's an encounter here that we can skip, and that we will be skipping. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the valve that's on the ground, and we're going to hold the text box for just a very short time. Just until we lose aggro, and then once we do, we can jump back into this water and just continue along our way. Here you're going to want to put the valve in and then mash X so that you actually turn the valve. Try not to be mashing X once the scene ends, or else you'll turn the valve again and have to watch the scene again and then do it a third time to put it back in the correct place. Try not to do that. Here we're going to hit this switch, and then we're immediately going to jump in the water and climb this ladder. Grab the orb, jump in and grab the valve. we're doing the puzzle the normal and intended way. Previously... Excuse me? There it is. Put the blue orb back in. Previously, we used to grapple way over to the other side and, like, skip this whole puzzle by doing the fight at this point. But it actually is just quicker to do the puzzle as intended and just do it quickly than it is to try to use that encounter to, like, skip the puzzle. So come back, put the second valve in, turn it, and same deal, try not to be, like, mashing X when you're coming out of this, because you'll end up turning the valve again. And you're going to go up into the third, the final section here. We're going to hit this switch, and then we are going to exit through that open gate and doorway. Oh, sorry, we're gonna pick up the orb here so that we can drain the water. Then we exit through. Here, you're going to place that orb into this receptacle, and that's going to activate the elevator up above, and you're just going to climb this ladder and exit, and that's going to be Antsudlo. And I'm going to make a save here. And you'll interact with the door, and you'll have a couple scenes that you'll skip through here before being placed into Glacial Peaks. And I think for the purposes of Act 5, I'm going to cut this video right here, and then we'll go into Part 2 for Act 5, and we'll do the second half of Glacial Peaks. Or Act 5, I should say. So, we'll see you in Part 2 of the Act 5 video.